Hey everybody, it's all Raptor Jesus from Altered Games, and in today's episode of the RPG Workshop, we're going to be talking about TSR's Top Secret RPG. It's a great espionage RPG. It's actually a hidden gem in my opinion. I think a lot of people are sleeping on it, so I hope we can dive into it, alright? Top Secret is a really interesting role-playing game that was developed by TSR in the 80s when they were getting really settled into being, the fathers of RPGs in general. It's very similar to Boot Hill. Actually, the combat system I would say is pretty much the Boot Hill combat system, but and there's a little bit of D&D in there. They still use the idea it takes 10 minutes to search a 10-foot by 10-foot room and various other things here, but it's not really an exploration game. It's the first espionage game, and it's I find it really interesting and how you both like make a character and how the game functions. It functions through the use of tables. You follow tables and look at columns and charts and see the effects. It seems really, actually, most people complain it's very unwieldy, but I think that once you get the correct flow of how the procedures work in the game is just beautiful in its simplicity. In fact, it's just basic TSR is uh, you're gonna have to work for the simplicity of the system because it seems very complex because of how the creator uh, Russellman generally thought that how a game should flow and function is through the use of tables. And this guy, he was actually part of the design department in TSR, and he's the one that kind of like handed this game forward, and then eventually it went through the various processes of playtesting throughout TSR, and I think people really liked it. It's a very interesting game. It does use classes, uh, but I don't think they're. It's more of the D&D isms, but I think it does function really well because of how you gain experience is based on what kind of jobs you're actually doing. So, and this is how the DM or the administrator in this case actually sets up how admissions go is through a variety of jobs. You have a main job, like say they have to go burn a mafia headquarters building, and then you apply various secondary objectives to that. Like maybe they have to steal the money that's in the safe. Perhaps they have to rescue someone that's been kidnapped, and then maybe they have to get surveillance footage on the mafia leader. Like maybe the lieutenant or something of that particular base actually has some blackmail on the leader. And so each of the various different divisions, the sections, they'll gain bonus payout based on what that particular class does. And there's four of them for each of the different specializations: assassination, thievery, investigation, and of course, the administrator has their own class. Which I find very interesting because there's actually a greater game at play. Uh, the true campaign game is when you have one of your players actually successfully complete four missions and their character gains a level in each of the different sections, in at least three different sections. They may become an administrator. And the administrator forms their own agency, and they have understood enough of the game, going through the various classes and going through the various missions, that their character can now retire and head their own spy agency. And this is when the true campaign game play begins, because once you gain at least 3 administrators in total this way. You can have competing agencies, and the third administrator acts as a coordinator for all of these various spy agencies working in the world. And basically, this is how a lot of these old games were actually set up like Bronsteins, but they just didn't have this name of Bronstein because this is how all RPGs were meant to function in the very early days. They were meant to function as a multiplayer, multi-objective, fog of war PvP campaign. And so in this case, you could have one group of players as the CIA, and you could have another group of players as the KGB. And this is further expanded upon when you get the companion book, which I think you need both a top secret manual and the companion book in order to fully play the game, because it expands the game in so many different ways, especially through the use of their alignment system, which is your economic policy, your change policy, and your political policy. So you have 3 different various alignments. It's a very interesting way of actually setting your character up. Each of the characters is also supposed to have a cover identity, and this cover identity essentially tells them what the percentage chance that they can get away to do a secret spy mission, and also it gives them extra funds in order to complete more intense spy missions because you can have better equipment. I think it's kind of funny to have the spies operate on their own so that they can gather their own equipment. Now, in a couple of Dragon Magazine articles I read, there's a section that says you don't want your players to have too much gear or too much loot, and you might want to have some bureaucratic nightmare messing with them, which I actually think is a very good idea. I think you should still give them the loot, but also have it, they have to fill out forms and all kinds of requisitions so they can take all those AK-47s so they can arms deal with another poorer nations. As players will do. They want to make money, which money is good. Because if you do the true campaign game, each character essentially has the ability to have a stronghold in the spy sense of you run your own agency. And that's when you get more access to various different facilities and more options on how you can do the missions. But the character is retired because, the administrator is supposed to run the game. He's not supposed to run around doing spy stuff. So I hope you found this informative, and maybe it kind of entices you to look for Top Secret. Now, there are very many different editions, and I recommend the first or second edition if it were me. So I hope you guys found this video informative and helpful, and you check out the Top Secret RPG. If you ever see it in a used bookstore or anything, pick it up. Trust me, you will not regret it, fellas. Alright, fellas, that's the rest of the video. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. I'll probably try to answer anything I missed, alright? If you want to see more of this content, please feel free to subscribe. If you would like to support anything I do here at Altered Games, please give me a coffee. Down below there's a link. I hope you guys have a good game next time you play, and please keep your shield arm strong, alright? No slacking now.